Okay, so we got our very lovely Bhakta Sanj here, and he's so lovely, and he makes all these lovely posters of Guru Maharaj every month for us, and does service with smile. He's ready to read the nectar Guru Maharaj has left us with, Ocean of Mercy. So over to you, Sanj.
Hare Krishna. Srila Bhakti Chara Swami Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
So we're still on the road, chapter 1, and if anyone's got the book, we're on page 12 of Ocean of Mercy. And we're towards the end of page 12. Still, I was excited to see the interior of Turkey, and the place was enchanting. The mountains were cut from red rock, and only sparse vegetation. A river flowed along the valley below, with banks of lush green. Clusters of village houses dotted the landscape. I suggested to Mark that we go down to the village and see if we could find something to eat. He said that one of us should stay on the road and try to stop a car. I offered to stay. It would not be such a long way down to the village, but I did not know how I would communicate with the people there. Why don't you go? He said with a smile. We finally decided to settle it by tossing a coin. I lost and had to go. I climbed down a winding path, but even the village there were no shops. I walked up to a house and knocked. A woman came to the door, but when she saw me, she screamed and slammed the door in my face. Giving up hope of finding food, I climbed back up the mountain to the road and told Mark what had happened. We sat for a few more hours under the walnut tree, shading ourselves from the sun, our stomachs burning with hunger. We discussed our mistake in taking the mountain road and considered going back to the other route. Suddenly, several boys came into view. They silently approached us with 2 large covered metal plates and placed them before us. We removed the coverings. When we removed the coverings, we found homemade Turkish bread, raw green vegetables, and large pieces of goat cheese. We thanked the boys profusely and then ate while they sat around us, watching and speaking amongst themselves in a language we couldn't understand. After a short while, several village women came up and sat behind the boys to watch. One of them was from Lebanon and asked whether we knew French. Mark was fluent, and we learned from her that when the woman who had shut the door on me had seen that I was climbing back up to the road, she had called to the other women and told them what had happened. They presumed that I had been looking for food, and, spotting the 2 of us, they had sent the boys with the plates. The other residents, the women said, had hardly seen a foreigner in their entire lives. So the arrival of an Englishman and an Indian was quite an event. The women's hospitality was wonderful, but we still could not get a ride. When we stood by the road, the rest of the day. Finally, toward evening, an elderly shepherd tending his flock spoke to us. From gestures, we made out that he was inviting us to spend the night in his home. We happily accepted. He was a simple, poor shepherd, yet he offered us what he could, food and a place to sleep. In the morning, Mark and I decided to make our way back down the mountains to a more populous place where we had a better chance of being picked up. Once we were back on the main roads, hitchhiking in Turkey was not as difficult as it had been in Iraq, and we soon got a series of short rides. Near Ankara, where we were picked up by 3 English boys from York University in an old station wagon, and we rode with them through the entire stretch of Turkey and into Istanbul, where Asia and Europe meet. Istanbul's Sultanahmet district, near the Blue Mosque, didn't look like Turkey. It was full of young Americans and Europeans. Their alternative hippie lifestyles were new to me, and most were quite broad-minded and friendly. The dormitory style hotel was so cheap that we could afford to stay here for a while. And we made many friends, including a young American, Larry Baker. Every morning, Mark, Larry, and I would go for breakfast at the Pudding Shop, a restaurant popular among young travelers, where we spent a good deal of our time. The food was delicious and cheap, but the most interesting feature for me was the atmosphere. It was alive with free-thinking youth who were open to meeting people and sharing their experiences. Some of them had been in Istanbul for months, living day to day, playing music, and just hanging out. We roamed the city, visited historic sites, and just sat and chatted on the banks of the river. One morning, Mark suggested that we go to Topkapi Palace, an hour away. I was struck by the name because Top meant cannon in Bengali and was included in many Bengali words and names. It was, I realized later, a Turkish word that had been incorporated into Bengali during the Persian invasion of India. Mark took the role of tour guide. The palace, which was actually an enormous cluster of buildings and courtyards, had been the seat of the Ottoman dynasty that had ruled over Asia Minor and a significant part of Europe for centuries. We spent the day there admiring the classic architecture and ornate decorations and amazed by the sheer magnitude of the place. Mark and I stayed in Istanbul for a full week. The day before we were going to leave, we were sitting in a park with Larry when two young men approached us and asked if we would like to smoke some hashish. Neither Mark nor I were interested, but Larry left with the men. He didn't come back that night, and the next morning, worried, we told the manager of the pudding shop. We were concerned that the men could have been police in plain clothes and that Larry might have been arrested. The manager told us not to worry. If anything, the police would frame Larry to get a bribe. Drugs were not a big deal in Turkey unless you were caught smuggling large quantities. Larry didn't return that morning, but reassured by the manager, we posted 2 notes on the pudding shop notice board, one for Larry and one for Prasun, and then left for Greece. Like many Indian boys, I had been enchanted by Alexander the Great. My brother told me the story of Alexander and the massive, legendary horse, Bucephalus. No one had been able to tame Bucephalus, but Alexander spoke to it soothingly, and it turned its head towards the sun so it could not see its shadow, which had been the cause of its distress. With Bucephalus thus subdued, Alexander was able to ride it, and the horse served as his mount until it died during the invasion of India. I also loved hearing about Alexander's encounter with the Persian king Darius. Darius had a huge army, 5 times larger than Alexander's. So when he had been challenged by Alexander, whom Darius considered a mere boy, he was so confident of victory that he brought his wife and mother. But Alexander attacked him unexpectedly at a mountain pass, away from the battlefield. Darius ran away, leaving behind his wife and mother, who were taken into custody. When he then offered a huge ransom in exchange for their freedom, Alexander replied that he was not interested in the ransom, but would release the women if Darius appeared before him and knelt in submission. Darius did as ordered, and Alexander set the women free. Once, when Alexander was away from his kingdom, his minister wrote to him that his mother was meddling in affairs of state. Alexander wrote back, "One teardrop from my mother's eyes can wipe out all your letters complaining against her." Mark and I headed to Thessaloniki, Macedonia's capital, near Alexander's birthplace in Pella. One of our rides was from an educated French couple who spoke fluent English. One of 3 families traveling together in 3 cars. They stopped at a beach in Alexandropolis where we all had an ocean swim and a picnic. They were the first European families I had met on the road. All the Westerners in Istanbul had been young travelers, and I found them pleasant and friendly. I was impressed by the cultured and generous attitude of the couple who picked us up, and wondered how often I would get rides from such people. Would you have picked me up if I had been hitchhiking alone? I asked. They paused. Then the man looked at his wife and smiled, and she said that they generally did not pick up hitchhikers at all. But seeing me, an Indian, they had been curious.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. So what page are we on now, Sanj Prabhu?
We are now on page 18, so
Okay,
chapter
so
2
was-
is not far away.
Oh,
Okay,
brilliant,
brilliant.
brilliant to hear that. And thank you so much for your commitment to this program. And we have amongst ourselves now on Rasraj Krishna's iPhone, our dearest god brother, Baladev Prabhu, and he's very humble. And I'm sure Radha Vinod Prabhuji would introduce, or maybe Srinivas Prabhu, because they would know, when he took initiation. And Prabhuji, please, for our sake, please go right at the beginning and please tell us how you
Yes,
interacted with Maharaj, why did you want it to become his disciple and all that. We are all ears and we want to hear that. So over to Radha Vinod Prabhuji to give you a quick introduction, please.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, dear Baladev Prabhu, to join us. I just saw Rasaraj Prabhu running behind my car, getting late. So I told Vinda Vilas, don't worry. I could see actually Rasaraj Prabhu actually running to get him online, and he did. Thank you very much. Dear Baladev Prabhu actually is a very senior devotee, very senior our god brother. He's been serving Guru Maharaj for a long time. With his instruction, he went all the way to Mayapur to serve the temple there, Radha Madhav, and he was going out with the devotee. And he knows more about Mayapur than actually even Mayapur devotee now. So many intimate things actually he knows and actually he can explain. He's a wonderful devotee. So we'd like to hear from Baladev Prabhu. He's Baladev Prabhu ki jai.
Jai, and
Thank you, Baladev Prabhu.
and His Grace Rasaraj Prabhu ki jai as well. Thank you very
Jai.
much.
Thank you very much, Rasaraj Prabhu, for arranging Baladev Prabhu to come on the line.
Hare Krishna. I'm really embarrassed what you've just said to me for the last 2 minutes, because I'm just nothing, really nothing. I'm just really embarrassed by your glorification. The glorification should go to the spiritual master. Glorification should go to His Holiness Bhakti True Maharaj. That's the glorification. That's the person that should go to. So I was requested how I met and chose Bhakti True Maharaj as my Diksha Guru. So 1992, I was invited to travel. I was invited to travel with His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj. So we went from Kenya, then to Uganda, then we flew to South Africa. So we stayed at Johannesburg Temple. Then we went from Durban, we drove down to, from Johannesburg down to Durban. And if you ever seen the Durban Temple, it's like a spaceship on a it's like a mushroom, basically. It's a spaceship on the support. It's like a spaceship. And at the time, the co-GBCs were Giriraj Maharaj and Bhakti Maharaj. So then I went there on the Easter weekend with the temple devotees, because at that time, Mahavishnu Maharaj, he returned before the Rath Yatra. He returned back to England, and I stayed behind. And he said to me before he left, there'd be so many spiritual masters at the Durban Rath Yatra. So you can pray to Krishna to show you who the spiritual master will manifest. So then we went from Johannesburg down to Durban. I was staying in a temporary guest room, a dormitory of about 18 devotees on mattresses. And then a day before a short time after the Rath Yatra, they had a Maha cleanup of the temple. So I was asked just to clean the room we were staying in. So then, as I was doing that, I took out all the mattresses and everything, and then as I was cleaning, I heard there was one young devotee cleaning the back stairs to the Bajai room and the altar. He was just cleaning the stairs and the corridor. And as I was cleaning the windows, I heard this voice saying, "Prabhu, this is not how you clean the stairs. I'll show you how to clean the stairs nicely and properly." And I looked and I thought, I don't know that voice. But when I looked, there was Bhakti Maharaj, GBC, initiating Guru, on his hands and knees, showing how to clean the stairs properly. He did about 5 steps. And he said, "So you know how to do now?" He says, "Yes." So then I knew that such a person who is such an elevated position as a GBC, initiating spiritual master, could come to position of showing how to clean some steps on the stairway. So this, I think, Krishna is showing me that this is the spiritual master, because I had a choice of there was Indra Maharaj, there was Krishna Das Swami Maharaj, Lokanath Maharaj, and a few others I can't remember there. And so that's how I chose. Then he came. He generally came to South Africa twice a year. So I stayed on for another year, about 8 months or so. And then when he came to the Johannesburg temple, because generally Guru Maharaj would come to Johannesburg first and then drive down to Durban. And then I asked for formally to be aspiring for initiation from him, and he says yes. He says yes. So we know that the spiritual master is a great personality. This morning, I was hearing a class by His Holiness Govinda Maharaj on how rare it is to get the association of a pure devotee, because they descend from the spiritual world. So we know about spiritual master Bhakti Maharaj. We know him. He was initiated by Srila Prabhupada, a great personality in himself. But we don't know what a great personality Bhakti Maharaj was in himself, by himself, individually. So two personalities gave me a little insight to this. And the first time I went to Mayapur, 94, I think I was traveling with Srinivas and Radha Damodar Prabhus. And then one day I was walking past the old Govinda's restaurant, by the old fountain park, as I used to call it. And I met Adi Guru Prabhu and Devaprastha Prabhu. At that time, they were Brahmacharis, and one other devotee from the manor. So they asked, Adi Guru said to me, "What are you doing today?" I said, "I just arrived. I don't know anything here." Then Devaprastha said, Prabhu said, "You must go. First place you generally go is to Mahaprabhu's Janmastan, his birthplace." So, okay. He said, "If you want, you can come with us, with this devotee. We can share a rickshaw together. 4 of us, two rickshaws." So, okay. So I went. So then we got there. Because it's my first time, I took more time than the Adi Guru and Devaprastha Prabhu, because they had been before. So I was just amazed at the place. And then if you know the Yoga Peeth, at the back, there's right at the back, top, these deities of Gaur Gadadhar and Lakshmana Shingadev. So I got about 2 minutes behind, and I took darshan of Gaur Gadadhar, Lakshmana Shingadev. Then I noticed, as I was taking darshan of Lakshmana Shingadev, Adi Guru, Devaprastha Prabhus, and the other devotee went through a little 2-tone brown doors. And okay, so I followed that. Then as I was walking down, I noticed there was this effulgent sannyasi giving Bengali sannyasi speaking to mixed Western devotees and Bengali devotees. So as Guru Maharaj used to say, be sure to pay your obeisances to sannyasis. So I paid my obeisances. And then as I was getting up, one of his disciples who could speak English said, "Our Guru Maharaj wants to speak to you." Okay. So then I understand. He said he can't speak English properly, but I can interpret for you. So then he asked questions. And the conversation went, so I can see this is your first time to Mayapur. Welcome. And you can see you're ISKCON devotee. It's very nice. and who is your Guru Maharaj, or you're aspiring for? And I said, I'm aspiring for His Holiness Bhakti True Maharaj. Then he looked to me straight in the eye with a couple of, and I could see a couple of tears coming down. He said, now, there's a gentleman that does not belong to this material world. And then I could see Adi Guru Deva Prasna, then up in my obeisances. Then as I was getting up, he gave me a little slap on the back, and then, Adi Guru Prabhu said, do you know who that was? I said, no. He said, that was His Holiness Bhakti Pranod Puri Maharaj, direct disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Swati Thakur Prabhupada. And he said, you're very fortunate, your first time in Mayapur, and you've got the mercy of a Bhaktisiddhanta Swati Thakur's disciple. And then a few years later, it was a Vyasa Puja in Mayapur. And it was, the Vyasa Puja was in the Panchatantra extension. Everybody, every devotee read their offerings, and then it came to the Puspanjali. And at the last moment, Bhakti Pranod Puri Maharaj and Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj came in together at the last moment. And the devotee, and they said, please, obviously in Bengali, please give us some flower petals. And at first they gave a little, said, no, give me more. So they had a big handful each, like this. And now Guru Maharaj, he didn't notice them come in because he was maybe, I forget how it was done, he didn't look, but when he looked up, when he saw two disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Swati Thakur Prabhupada ready to offer flowers to him, you could see he was looking embarrassed. And he said in Bengali, and then later English translated, he said, I cannot allow you to offer flowers to me because you are my Param Gurus. You are direct disciples of my Guru Maharaj. You are direct disciples of my Param Guru, Bhaktisiddhanta Swati Thakur Prabhupada. So how can I can't accept? So then said, what I'll do, then he instructed Srivas, who was looking after Guru Maharaj at that time, said, give me some flowers, some flower petals. So Guru Maharaj had a big handful of flowers in his hand. So when the Puspanjali started, the devotees, when they went through the Puspanjali mantras, and as they were throwing the flowers, Bhakti Pranod Puri Maharaj, Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj, they threw flowers at the lotus feet of Bhakti True Maharaj, and at the same time, Guru Maharaj, he offered flowers at the lotus feet of his Param Guru's disciples. So that gave me a little insight to who Guru Maharaj is in the spiritual world. He's a very rare personality, and still is. And he's still, even though he's not physically present with us, but he is still present. He's still present by his instructions he gave. And I know of three devotees, 3 disciples of Bhakti Sri Maharaj. In the last few months, had dreams of Bhakti Sri Maharaj giving personal instructions to them in their dreams. So even though maybe not physically present, he's still present, he's still with us. And we should never forget this, that physically, that he may be in the Samadhi in Ujjain, in Mayapur, and the Pushpa Samadhi in Ujjain. But more important, he's still with us by his instructions, and we should follow whatever instructions we have been given. I know Bhakti Maharaj, he gave me some personal instructions, so all I have to do is just follow those personal instructions. So I don't know how long I have to go on for, but if you give me a signal or some sort of sign when I should finish. And I'd like to thank everybody who's listening and thank you very much, Hare Krishna. All glories to Bhakti Sri Maharaj.
All glories to His Grace, Daya Baladev Prabhu. Jai. Such a nice insight into Guru Maharaj's beautiful personality. And thank you again so much. And may I also thank Yadurani Mataji, because I texted her this morning as well to make sure Rasraj Prabhu knows. And Daya Baladev Prabhu, you don't really know, but we've tried 3 or 4 times to have you on this program. And Bhakti Mati has been requesting. And I have tried 3-4 times for whatever reason, it never happened. And finally you came and you gave such a nice insight into how you chose your spiritual master and how even Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's disciples, senior disciples, considered Guru Maharaj, and it brought tears to their eyes just hearing Maharaj's name. So of course, what can we say about our Guru Maharaj's purity and how fortunate we are. So over to Radha Vinod Prabhuji to add what he may, and then we'll move on to the next part of the program.
Thank you again, Daya Baladev Prabhu. Now we can see how fortunate we are that somehow or other Guru Maharaj accepted us as his disciple. I was just talking to someone today, and he was glorifying Guru Maharaj. He said, I know Guru Maharaj so well, and I still miss him. And he's not a Guru Maharaj disciple. I said, I still miss him. And I wish I had more time to spend some time with him. But whatever time he had, he remembered, and he will never forget. And he was saying that Guru Maharaj is in the ISKCON is a very, very, very unique personality. You won't find anyone like Guru Maharaj. And when we hear from some other actually devotee glorification of Guru Maharaj, then actually I consider myself how fortunate I am that somehow the Guru Maharaj accepted me as his disciple. So thank you very much, Daya Baladev Prabhu. Next, I think we waiting for Namaste prayers.
Actually, Krishna Govinda Prabhuji is going to be launching Guru Maharaj's website today, so or talk about his spiritual connection.
Yeah, spiritual connection. That actually we must do that actually. Janwa Mataji is working so hard with Govinda Prabhu to spiritual connection. Actually, what we were actually be having that in the past, and they're going to relaunch again. And there is a website. So Krishna Govinda Prabhu, can you introduce that website to everyone? And whoever you meet, please try to introduce that website so we can revive again actually spiritual connection that Guru Maharaj actually used to like so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Please say some humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Om Jnana Timrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Just wanted to check you can hear me okay. Rajesh Krishna
Yeah,
Prabhu, can you hear
can
me?
hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. So yes, as Srila Vinod Prabhu mentioned, this is a very, very important website. It's been, produced by several devotees from around the world, and Janava Mataji has sort of collaborated with many devotees from South Africa, from UK, USA, India, etc. The Spiritual Connection magazine is a magazine initiated by Guru Maharaj, and it's a way of connecting ourselves to Guru Maharaj. And each of the magazine, they started producing this in 1993. The first one was like a couple of A4 sheets folded in half and stapled together and distributed. But each of the magazine had specific articles written by Guru Maharaj, a personal message for his well-wishers, his disciples, information about ongoing events and festivals itself. One of the things which Guru Maharaj mentioned in one of the magazine, I think it's volume 19, he mentioned that whenever I'm with you, you can have a personal association with me, but when I'm not with you, then this spiritual connections is a link to all of you in connections with wherever I am. And the magazine itself, you may have actually come across this magazine. I'm not sure if you can see this. This is one of the more recent magazines. Although this was produced in 1997 as a special edition for Abhay Charan, but you can see it's full of information on there. A lot of articles on there, personal messages, personal projects that Guru Maharaj was actually establishing and trying to engage everyone around the world to get involved. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to share the website itself. Sanjay Prabhu sent you a link, so please do share that link with everybody else. Save it on your favorite web page as well. It's just simply www.spiritualconnections.online. It's basically all the magazines produced over the last 20 years or so, scanned documentations, and you can actually review each of the documents individually. And the unique thing about it is that you could actually click on any issues. This particular one, volume 20, is the memorial issue that was actually produced by the devotees on the special occasion of Guru Maharaj's Tirubhava Tithi on 24th of July. If I just click on this, and you can actually read each of the documents, it's like digital print set. You can flick it a page at a time, or you can use the actual play button to actually view all the messages or view all the articles itself. You can also zoom in as well to any of the particular pages, so you can have a better sort of view of all the wordings. The other thing it has on the particular website, if I just close this a minute. So I'm just going to move this camera. You can see the quality is actually from 2022. They were all 2002, beg your pardon. They were all transformed from written handout copies to digital copies, and this was Guru Maharaj's wishes because he wanted to move with the times. The idea was that everything was based on the internet, and he wanted to distribute all these magazines through digital copies. So you could actually see any of these particular copies, the past issues. You could see from volume 1 all the way to volume 19 and the special issue of volume 20 as well. In addition, there is some of the studio recorded songs that Guru Maharaj presented. Many of you have come across this, the Krishna Bhavanamritam 1, 2, and 3. And also there's the song sheet as well. You could actually click on any of these particular song sheets,
Remember?
and it'll have all the translation of the songs itself. You can click on any of the songs as well. You can play it. I know recently somebody was asking me to send some of the songs which I produced for some of the videos, and you can actually click on any of these songs and you can play it online. And also the mobile phone, the same website, www.spiritualconnections.online, you can actually play any of the songs wherever you are. You just need like a
That's it.
Look at the
okay. And additionally, if you are interested in actually participating in assisting with the devotees, it's a team of 20 devotees headed by His Holiness Bhakti Prabhava Maharaj, Govinda Das, Janava Mataji from UK, and Gaurahari Prabhu, and many other devotees from around the world. If you are interested in participating in assisting with the project itself, if you may have some photographs, some additional songs that you may want to upload on the website, some personal memories or letters that you have of Guru Maharaj, as long as it's not confidential, please do get in touch with the devotees. There's a link there that you could actually enter your detail, your email, your subject, and your message. Or even if you want to give some sort of feedback for the magazine, that'd be very useful. You can contact Janava Mataji herself directly, or Radha Vinod Prabhu will be happy to assist you. So do please share the link with everybody else, with all the Guru Maharaj's disciples, well-wishers, friends as well. And whenever you want, as Dalbaldev Prabhu was saying earlier on, these magazines are direct instructions of Guru Maharaj. I know many of us, and it's been 1 year since we've lost Guru Maharaj, although he's never, away from us. One of the quotes I found on the magazine was really beautiful. If I could just recite that quotation by Guru Maharaj: when you chant Hare Krishna, you are with Krishna. And when I chant, I am with Krishna. So in this way, we are always together with Krishna. Our relation is eternal, and I am always with you. So these are beautiful instructions by Guru Maharaj, and each of the magazine that you see in the Spiritual Connection has wonderful messages. And it's not just to an individual person, it's to all of us. So please take time. Once again, the link was sent on our chat group. And whenever you have free time, please read any of the magazines. After all, these are all, Guru Maharaj's endeavor to keep all the spiritual disciples together, fixed and focused in our path to Krishna consciousness. Okay. Thank you. Radha Vinod Prabhu, did you want to say something about the Vyasa Puja for Guru Maharaj on 17th of September?
Yes. This year, the Tirubhavati, first time it happened that ex-Pandavsena, I would say, and the young Pandavsena, they organized the event so beautifully, so nicely. So I've been told that why can't actually they can organize the Vyas Puja as well. And they are all working together, and they're putting their mind into it. And it's not actually that big event. This is for the disciple only that they're organizing. The Haveli is not available, but that day actually is booked. So I think they're going to organize in one of the schools, either in Harrow or Watford nearby, or Stanmore. So they are working into it, and that is 17th of September in the evening from I think 6 o'clock. So very soon the whole information is going to come out. They're going to declare where they're going to do it. how they're going to do it and what they're going to do. So please, I request everyone to join into this the Vyas Puja celebration for our dearest Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj. I think next week is everything is coming out and you can book online. Again, the way actually we booked for Tirupati, the same way we have to book it, and then they will know that how many coming. According to that, they can arrange for prasadam and everything. So yes, definitely there is a Vyas Puja on the 17th of September. The event where it's taking place, we don't know yet, but hopefully by next week, the whole information will come. And please, we need support from each and everyone to join in and make this festival very successful. Thank you very much. If anybody want to know further, Dhruva Maharaj actually is leading the event again, like last event. So he will have actually more idea than actually me, but that's what Dhruva Prabhuji told me, that actually next week everything is coming out and everyone will know where it's taking place and what time and what the program is.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And I'm sure we'll be doing this online program for Guru Maharaj's. And I've spoken to a few people, some of the shy people, like Sachi Mataji is going to be coming. Naveen Krishna Prabhuji is going to be coming for the online program. So we will actually do it after this program that Pandasena is doing, so that there is no clash and we have a little time as well. So thank you so much for all joining. And Bhakti Mati Mataji, are you okay to do Narsingha prayers?
Yes,
Haribol?
he's ready.
Yeah. If
Bhakti Mataji, can you unmute yourself and do the Namaste prayers, please?
okay, perhaps she's shy. Maybe Balram Kripa Prabhu. He's there.
Yes, Mataji, I'm here.
So Prabhuji, please lead us into Narsinghadev prayers, and thank you so much for joining. And we'll send more details a bit earlier on for the next program after after the date and everything, and all the other details are finalized for Guru Maharaj's Vyas Puja. So thanks very much for all joining, and we'll just finish off after this. And I know it's gone a little bit over, but you know what we heard was nectar, so I'm sure you would all not mind. So okay, Prabhuji, over to you.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Praladalai. Hiranyakashipurvakshaha. Hiranyakashipurvakshaha. Shilatankankalahari. Shilatankankalahari. Ito Narsimo Parto Narsimo. Ito Narsimo Parto Narsimo. Yato Yato Yamitato Narsimo. Yato Yato Yamitato Narsimo. Mae Narsingha Hridaye Narsingha. Mae Narsingha Hridaye Narsingha. Narsingha Madim Sharanam Rapate. Narsingha Madim Sharanam Rapate. Tav Kar Kamal Vare Nakam Adbhuta Singha. Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubinga केशवदीता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवदीता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जयो नरसिंहदेव नरसिंहदेव नरसिंहदेव
जयो नरसिंहदेव
जयो प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज जयो प्रहलाद महाराज जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव जय नरसिंहदेव की जय प्रहलाद महाराज की जय शिला प्रभुपाद की जय ताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल थैंक यू माता जी
So thank you all. And if just a thought, I was just thinking about the turnout. Then you think, shall we carry on doing this? And then you think, definitely our Guru Maharaj is worth it. We can easily take out 1.5 to 2 hours at least once a month, whether it's one person who comes or whether it's 80 or bigger number, or we'll carry on doing this. And please, thank you. Remember that great Vaishnav who's done so much for all of us. Please, please aspire all your other friends and other God brothers, God sisters to please try and join, because this is glorifying our dearest, very humble Guru Maharaj. So thank you all who've joined, and please carry on joining in future programs too. Radha Vinod Prabhuji, is there anything else, or we can just finish off
Fine,
now?
thank you. Finish off. Yeah.
Thanks, Oliver. Hari Hari. And apologies.
Vanchakalpatarubhasya kipasindubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
His Holiness, His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj ki jai.
Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol. Hare
Hari
Krishna. Thank you, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada as well.
Yeah, of course.